Hey, hey, hey. Welcome back to my channel. I am so excited that you are here. My name is Kimberland. I am an educational advocate, activist, and consultant, a transformation coach, and a professional frolicker. And this is Minding My Black Ass Business. This episode, I have on my educational advocacy hat as I'm sharing the traumatic events and disturbing events that happened to me while I was working on behalf of the Pennsylvania Department of Education with Chester County Intermediate Unit in Chester County, Pennsylvania from August of 2020 through June of 2021. My work was in school improvement, specifically in school climate and culture. And what I found out after being there and being behind the scenes is that the school improvement system in Pennsylvania is a sham and it is a scam. And I am here to talk about it. So if you missed parts 1 through 5, please click the link to the playlist in the description box so you can catch up, y'all. There has been so much that has been revealed and so much that I have been sharing. So you definitely want to make sure that you go and catch up if you are not already up to date with what is happening. In episode 5, we walked through what happened after the meeting with HR on January 15th, 2021, where they shared the findings of their investigation into the toxic, traumatizing, and hostile work environment that's associated with Chester County Intermediate Unit and the school improvement system on behalf of the Pennsylvania Department of Education. You all saw that I was assigned an additional supervisor because I am so hard to manage. Insert all the sarcasm here. We ended episode 5 on February 8th, 2021, in the middle of my 90-day evaluation. So here in episode 6, we are picking up with the remainder of that February 8th meeting. And you'll see how that turned out. A lot of you have been really upset about the events that have taken place, the number of messages that I've received from folks who are empathizing with what I went through, currently going through the same types of things at their current work environment, or people who have been able to escape a toxic and hostile work environment and they've lived to talk about it. So I have a lot of you all in my comments who are very grateful for me sharing this information as you feel seen, but also it has come back to me that you feel like you're getting something out of this, learning how to advocate for yourself, learning about the different things that you can do to make sure that you document properly and such. So I am really, really happy that this is having a positive impact on folks because I'm really skeptical about sharing trauma. I do believe that vicarious trauma is a real thing. And I don't believe in exposing people to trauma if there is no type of recourse or no type of call to action or anything like that. So you all keep talking to me. Let me know if there are things that you want me to go in more depth about, or maybe that might mean I bring on an expert or two who talks about these things. So having said that, if you are an HR professional, and this is resonating with you, if you will please reach out to me and let me know if you are willing to come on as a guest or if you are willing to share your expertise or if I can point people in your direction. I think all of that is really, really important. So if you will email me at mindingmyblackAssBusiness at gmail.com. And I'm going to put that on the screen for you as well so that you are able to see that. So again, if you will send me an email at mindingmyblackAssBusiness at gmail.com, if you are an HR professional and you want to partner with me on this exposure journey here and supporting people who may be experiencing this type of trauma currently. Having said that, another way for you to support is to remember that I do have a Patreon page. It was set up out of necessity because of everything that has been happening with the good folks in Pennsylvania who don't want me talking about this. So If you are feeling moved in your spirit to support this mission, you can subscribe to my Patreon page for only $5 a month, and you'll be able to see the unedited videos, right now updates, any posts that I'm not putting out to the community as a whole. You will be able to see those things over on my Patreon. You might be asking yourself, where is all that money going? It is going to go to supporting this mission. It takes countless hours to produce and edit these videos, and I'm doing this as a labor of love and as an opportunity to put this on blast to dismantle this system. So every support, every piece of penny helps. Okay, so if you would like to support me in dismantling the racist school improvement system in Pennsylvania, I really, really, really would appreciate it. Okay. All right. So again, we left off on episode 5 on the February 8th meeting that occurred with who was there? Noreen and myself and Jana, my supervisor. Now at the halfway mark, but we are only at indicator number 4. Okay. If you will remember from part 5, I was told that there were 10 indicators as well as goals that needed to be set. 34 minutes and 51 seconds into the 90-day evaluation that is supposed to be, are you meeting standard? Are you not meeting standard? Thank you so much. Move on with your life. That has been postponed for a very long time. All right, so picking up here, February 8th, second half of the conversation, we're on indicator 4. Let's go.
In this area, again, with this type of job, there has to be flexibility. There has to be initiative. We can't help if we do nothing. So what I think is particularly challenging sometimes is flexibility in thought, to really be able to leave assumptions at the door and listen to these school teams and then respond to whatever their reality is that they're sharing.
Right.
So I wanted to get your thoughts on that. I know that you're using initiative and responsibility and flexibility all the time, but that's one area of interest I wondered if you have encountered.
Yeah, I actually have talked to John about this before. The type of intentional language that I utilize when I'm speaking to schools is centered in a framework is called the ICF continuum, and basically is 3 different types of language to utilize. So there's instructional, collaborative, and facilitative language. I am often in a facilitative space in that I want to provide schools, people, I'll just say, because it's not just schools, but provide people with the opportunity to make it plain of what they are, where they are, what they are bringing into the situation. And that is best done by asking well-crafted and thought out questions to elicit responses that are going to be meaningful. So that's something that I lean on daily as I'm having these conversations, because there is really no other way for me to know. And I think also not being from Pennsylvania is an advantage in this area, that I am asking real questions as I'm asking to really gain understanding. So it's helping to create a full picture for me, because I honestly do not know, right? So this is not just a empty, oh, I'm going to ask them this to see what they say type of thing. As I know, really, I would like for you to help connect some of these dots, or to understand the inner workings of a particular LEA with their schools. Like what do those dynamics look like? So that's a space that I am in often. So then I am able to utilize that to create differentiated support opportunities. And that is literally what I do all the time. But then passing that over to schools, like, it makes me think about one of the tools that I developed is, I'm not going to say developed, I adapted, is called an analysis of teachers tool. And
I created it within our launch course as a job aid, but it is really centered on this deep analysis of expectations and teacher practice and how are teachers meeting those expectations and then providing differentiated support. So it's the same type of practice that I utilize when I'm talking with the schools is what are the expectations, if you will, that I'm looking to get out of this conversation? Where are they in the process of this? Whether we use the crawling, walking, running situation or whatever framework that we put on it. But then once I get that information, I'm able to meet them where they are and truly listen holistically. So again, this is where all these layers of my background come into play, that I'm coming in with a culture lens, but I'm also, thank you, Portia. I'm also very well trained in behavior as well as curriculum. So then I'm able to weave all of that together and really create something impactful and meaningful for that school in that situation. So I hope that answered your question. I feel like I took a few detours, but yeah.
So I'm going to pause here for a second because everybody that's here is not in education. So that was a lot that I was sharing with them. But basically, they were trying to find out, or Noreen called herself trying to find out how I was meeting this particular standard. So this standard, I know this is small as all get out, y'all. So let me even make it larger for myself. Initiative and responsibility was the standard. So she started this out saying, in this work, we have to, take initiative, blah, 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 whatever. So I just finished sharing with her all the ways that I was not only taking initiative, but that I was also, making things plain for my colleagues who don't know these things. So I was sharing with them how I differentiate. So basically, how do I meet different schools at their level of need without trying to do a one size fits all cookie cutter type of approach? Because that's not what this is, right? You have to be very flexible and knowledgeable in school improvement work to be able to really determine what is going to be the best support, as well as what support is going to actually feel like support to the school. Because there are times where people will push in, and I will name specifically white people, will push into Black environments, and they will show up as if they are the saviors and they are there with the magic answer for they're going to fix all the world's problems. And that's not how this works, right? This is not the savior business. We are not Jesus, okay? We are here to empower schools to take initiative and to think about how to tweak what they are already doing that is working, and then put systems in place to maintain that. And then how can they operates at a consistent level and add new things to the plate so that they can move the needle, right? The other thing with school improvement work is it doesn't happen overnight. So if you've done any type of research on change usually takes 3 to 5 years before you see actual results of the change, right? So a lot of the first couple years of change is putting the infrastructure in place and making small moves that will ultimately have this exponential curve that will positively impact things over the long run. But you can't just think that you just gonna swoop in and you gonna fix everything, because these Black children, these Black teachers, these Black educators, this Black school, they don't know nothing. And the reason that they're failing is because they suck. And a lot of times that is the mentality of the people who work in school improvement, who are overwhelmingly white, that they think that they're coming in to save the day because they have the magic answer. That's not how this works. So as I was sharing with them, I'm talking to them about my differentiated approach, how I can walk into a school, how I can assess what is going on with that school, and how I can provide them support that's actually going to feel like support, as well as helping them to put systems in place so that they're able to maintain the growth that they receive from this particular type of support. Ashley said, I'm always showcasing my knowledge and expertise. Well, this is what I do, right? This is what I do. So it is important to me to make sure that it be known who you dealing with, right? I don't like when people walk into situations and they don't feel like the people who are there know what they're talking about. Now, what I've realized is that the people that were here in this space, namely Jana and Noreen. So I already shared with you all, Jana and Noreen have no idea what I did from day to day. That is why Noreen is asking all these questions so that she can understand what I did and so that Jana can understand what I did. Neither of them know how to do school improvement work. Let me be very clear when I say that. Neither of them are in a position where they understand. Let me single myself out. So yeah, okay, there I am. Neither Jana nor Noreen, again, Jana is my supervisor or was my supervisor. Noreen was her supervisor. Neither of them understand how school improvement works. Both of them operate out of this white supremacist mentality that they think that they know what they are doing, and they do not. I will give you an example. And I don't know if I shared this before, but if I did, I'm going to share it again because I feel like it's relevant. So, when I had first started with Chester County Intermediate Unit, I had a meeting with Jana, and I said to Jana, I'm kind of concerned. This was within 2 weeks of me being there. I was like, I'm kind of concerned because I feel like our system doesn't know what equity is. Like, we don't know what that means. And it was glaring to me, right? Because I've been doing this work for over a decade. So Jana said to me, well, what exactly is equity? Again, trying to figure out what it is because her ass don't know. Okay. So I explained, she said, what exactly is equity? Like, in what areas would you be talking about? So I said, well, equity can show up in anything, right? Equity can show up in attendance data. It can show up in grades. It can show up in who gets served first in the cafeteria, who gets to go to the bathroom, who gets called on in the classroom. Like, equity can be all sorts of things, right? She said to me, well, if equity is everything, then aren't we doing equity? Nah, that's not how that works. That's not how that works, right? So the work of equity work is in dismantling these systems. That is an active work. That's not something that you just do by default. If you are doing equity work, you are doing this with intention. You're doing this on purpose. Okay, so it's not just this type of thing like, oh, well, if I show up, then equity is being done, right? So to Ashley's point, she don't have to worry about that because she's white. So she and Noreen operate out of a place of privilege. They don't ever have to think about an equitable situation. She said I should have gave her some homework. I really should have. Like, I really, really, really should have. So anyway, so I wanted to kind of frame that, right? Because it is very important to understand the nuances of school improvement work. And school improvement work is not for the weak, and it's not for somebody who's not qualified. Like, that's not, you don't practice. Let me say that. You don't practice and do on-the-job training for school improvement work. This is something that you come into already equipped and qualified and ready to move the needle. This is not the place where you show up and be like, oh, well, let me see what it's like. Let me see what it's like for us to do the equity in the school improvement. Oh, let me push into your meeting and see how you do it, because I have no earthly clue what the hell I'm doing. This was the type of environment that we were dealing with. Okay. So here we are at the 90-day evaluation. I'm explaining because I know what the hell I do. And I'm great at what I do. Okay. I've said that. I mean that from my toes. Like, I know what I am doing. So as I am explaining, I'm also, interestingly enough, thinking about the fact that I'm documenting all of this. I'm recording this, right? So you're asking me these questions, but I'm going to answer you. I'm going to answer you because then I'm going to get on camera how much I know what I'm talking about. Because the entire time that we're creating this narrative as if I am ill equipped, I am inept, I don't know what I'm doing, right? When in fact, they were the ones, right? No, she was not there to do equity work. She was there to collect the paycheck and to benefit all the backs of these Black and brown children, schools, and families. Okay. She was not even informed about what equity is. So, how the hell is you disrupting systems that have led to failing schools if you don't even know what it is? Well, because you're not. There's profit in the problem. There's profit in the problem. And these people who sit in these school improvement spaces make sure that they orchestrate things to stay exactly the same so that they can keep a job. That's the spoiler alert at the end of all of this. They do things strategically to make sure that kids continue to fail, that schools don't receive the support that they're supposed to receive, that administrations remain frustrated, running around on a hamster wheel, so that they can write a new grant and fund themselves another six-figure salary for the next 3, 4, 5 years. That is the game. That is the game of school improvement. Okay. Come on, ill-equipped to accept the status quo. I'm not doing it. We don't do status quo. Anybody that has been around me knows you're not going to be able to be regular and average around me. Okay, you're going to have to find you a piece of greatness and walk that stuff out, because I don't deal in average. We are not average people, right? Like the level of expertise that we bring to spaces, specifically as Black women, we ain't doing average. We're not. So I'm gonna call it out every time. And that's why I stay in trouble. So anyway, so let's continue. Let's continue. Let me get off my soapbox, y'all. Let's continue.
Now, what I heard is that you have existing skills and a framework that you're working from in your mind when you're having conversations with schools. So by having that tool, for example, just even the one that you mentioned, you're able to do kind of a self-check in terms of what role you're playing, and then how to best communicate.
Yes.
And I heard a couple different examples of iterations of that, but I think that's the general that I'm hearing you say, hey, I have valuable experiences. I have a framework in my mind, so that you're entering the work with some tools that you can already use.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting how she summarized what I said, because it was so much more than that, right? What I said was not just that I have tools, but that I have the expertise to be able to show up for these schools in ways that matter, right? She tried to boil it down to, oh, you have a process and procedure that you use to work. No, sis. It is so much bigger than that, because the other part of school improvement is being able to develop these relationships where they will allow you to help them, because they are so used to white people showing up trying to make them feel stupid. So not only do I have a process, but I also have the expertise and the ability to be able to build relationships to actually help these schools. But she missed all that. She didn't. That wasn't her summary.
And I've said often, like, entry points for me is something that I'm always looking for. And regardless of what entry point is open, that I'm able to take the school where they need to go. Right. So whether they open the door for attendance, behavior, curriculum, culture, diversity, like, it doesn't matter what door they open, I can exist in that space. I can make sure I'm supporting them, but I can also have those lateral passes, if you will, to colleagues to say, let me loop in so and so and bring them into the situation because they can better support in this area. So I'm also able to create opportunities for others to get into school environments where they may not have been able to get in any other way, like the school was resistant or what have you, but because of the way that things are shaped, and because of my ability to be able to navigate entry points and utilize that facilitative conversation, they then can walk in with this open entry point. Like, all of a sudden, the school is like, you know what? I do need some ELA support. I'm so glad you made that connection. Whereas the ELA specialist has been trying to get into the school for the past few months, they were like, no, we're good. So I definitely I appreciate my savviness in being able to do that, because it really does help to give the school the holistic support that they need.
So let me pause here for a second. Okay, come on, Ashley, you heard me. You heard me say it. Baby, we are creating opportunities over here, right? So what would happen is people, so on our team we had different types of specialists. So I was a school climate and culture specialist, specifically focusing on equity initiatives and social emotional learning. We had another school climate and culture specialist who focused on behavior. We had another one who focused on trauma informed practices. We had a curriculum and instruction specialist. We had several math specialists, several ELA specialists. Okay. So what would happen is these people, these other specialists, would show up to schools virtually trying to offer support. I showed y'all on the video last episode where one of my schools was like, the facilitator was like, oh, is there anything else that we can help you with? You know, anybody else from the team that we could bring? She was like, we got Kimberly. We good. We got Kimberly and Carmen. We don't need nobody else. We good, right? So that's what would happen, because I know how to build relationships with people. And because I'm not coming in with this jaded view of feeling like I need to fix you, they were allowing me into the spaces to have conversation. So what would happen, because I also have a very strong instructional background, so my master's is in curriculum and implementation and educational leadership. So I understand the logistics and the operations, but I also understand what this curriculum and instruction needs to look like in order to make sure that we are meeting kids where they are and moving children. So I have a very, very, very well-rounded background, right? So what would happen is I would show up to these spaces and I would be talking to the school and they'd say something to me like, so I say, well, let's look at your data. Like, what is it showing? Where are the kids struggling the most, blah, blah, whatever. And then they would say, oh, well, like our ELA scores, ELA is English language arts. So our ELA scores are really poor, and we need some help in that. So then I would be able to say, well, we have an ELA specialist on the team. Would it be beneficial for me to loop them in and they join some spaces with us for us to think through that? So because I said, let's do that, then the school would be like, that actually might help, Kimberly. That actually might help, because they trusted that I knew what I was talking about, because I had shown them that I knew what I was talking about, right? Data analysis is not something that you just, it's not a willy-nilly process. It is a very, it can be a very intensive process, but it also can help you really make some breakthroughs about how to move schools as these schools are in school improvement. So, and most importantly, I listened to the school. I didn't come in thinking I have the fix. So what I was talking about when I was talking about entry points, I don't care what a school tells me the issue is. I've had schools tell me, the kids, just won't go to class. Like they just won't go to class. And, we just don't know what to do about it. They keep skipping. Like that's, in their mind, that is the issue. So what I would do is ask more questions about that. Oh, okay. I hear you saying that there is an attendance issue as far as students going to the classroom to receive instruction. Can you talk to me a little bit about what happens at the beginning of the class period? Because what I'm trying to find out is are the classes even worth going to? Like, are the teachers actually actively teaching when the bell rings, when kids are supposed to be in class? Do the kids feel like they're missing out on something if they don't get to class when it first starts? Why should they be in class on time? Right? Is what I'm trying to get to. So I might ask that question. Or I might ask a question like, when you break down the data about the students who are missing class, is there a certain population that's showing up? Well, they might say that many of the students that are not showing up to class are students with disabilities. Interesting. So our students that have learning disabilities are not eager to go to class. I can understand that, right? If you have difficulty learning, yeah, why would you want to go to class, right? Especially if your class is not an affirming place where you feel like it's safe to take risks and you feel like you have the ability to actually learn what it is that your teacher is presenting to you. Then I might ask some additional questions about teacher mindset, because now I'm trying to understand, do the teachers even feel like the kids can learn? Are there some shifts that we need to make there about the people that we have in front of children? So I'm asking questions. I'm getting to the root of it. I don't care what you tell me the issue is. We're going to get down to this equity situation. We're going to deal with mindsets, and we're going to equip your teachers, yourselves as administrators, and your children to improve. That takes a lot of savviness to be able to do that. And that is not something that you can do without training. So I want to give a shout out to Hillsborough County Public Schools, because that's where I started my teaching career. That's where I matriculated through my teaching career. I worked with professional development and since 2013, and I left there in 2020. So I worked with professional development for 7 years. One of the roles that I had was as a new teacher mentor to first and second year teachers. And during that time, we went through extensive training on how to recognize entry points. So how do you recognize how to capitalize on what somebody says and then navigate them to a solution? How do you approach this work with equity, keeping in mind looking for places where inequities might be present? What type of language do you use? So y'all heard me just a second ago talk about the ICF continuum. So a lot of times people in this work, they want to tell. They would just want to tell people what to do. Do this, do this, do that. Bada bing, bada boom, it's done. Well, I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm here to teach you how to think through these issues and create a system that's going to be sustainable. Because one day, the whole point is you are supposed to get out of school improvement. That's the point. I'm not going to be here the whole time. So my job is to equip you so that you are able to sustain this progress without me. That's the whole point. To guide, right? Not to again feel like I have the magic recipe of how to handle this. That is not what I am here for as a school improvement specialist, right? These people that were sitting in this room had no idea what the hell I was talking about. None. Portia knew what I was talking about because Portia does this work. Portia also comes from Florida. As crazy as Florida is, there are systems. So Portia knew what I was talking about, but Jana and Noreen, they have no earthly idea. Both of them are from Pennsylvania. And when I tell you Pennsylvania's educational system is so jacked up, period, just the way that they operate, it's like they have over 500 school districts in Pennsylvania. Every single one of the school districts does their own thing. Every one of the school districts. How are we going to have a systematized approach to school improvement if everybody is doing their own thing? That doesn't even make sense. There are no systems in place. Now, it's different if you're doing your own thing towards a specific situation, but there's no governing body. Like their governing body are the local school districts, the local school board. So each school board gets to decide how they're going to show up for kids. There were times where I would show up. I remember, so we had Philadelphia public schools as well. And I didn't work a lot in Philadelphia. And one of the reasons I did not work a lot in Philadelphia is because the narrative about Philadelphia is that Philadelphia was difficult. Philadelphia is difficult. So, we have to be really, really calculated about how we bring people into the space because they're really, really difficult. Like historically, they don't take direction well. They don't want to do the things, blah, 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 right? And what I found so interesting about that is I'm sure if you look up the data, Philadelphia, let's look it up, y'all. Let's look it up since we're here. Hey there, guys. So I wanted to insert this so we can do a deeper dive into some data that will allow you all to see just what the state of many schools are in Pennsylvania. So I'm going to start out with sharing just some high level demographics from the Westchester Area School District. Now, this school district is a part of Chester County Intermediate Unit. So if you remember, Chester County Intermediate Unit or intermediate units, period, are like a regional intermediary between the state, which is the Department of Education, and the local school board. So this is one district that is within Chester County Intermediate Unit's jurisdiction. So I want to show you all here on this map just so you can kind of see relation of where Chester County is in comparison to places like Philadelphia, which is over here to the east. And then if I pull this map to the left, you will see Harrisburg, which is here, which is where I used to live. Okay, so this is middle Pennsylvania here, Harrisburg, and then Chester County is over this way. So CCIU's office is actually in Downingtown, Pennsylvania. So this is within their jurisdiction, this regional area. And again, they are kind of in between Philadelphia and middle Pennsylvania. So I wanted to share that just so you can kind of get an idea of where these people are located. So if we take some fast facts about Westchester Area School District, which again is just one particular school district that is in CCIU's jurisdiction. And if we look at our race and ethnicity demographics over here to the right, we see that 8.2% of the population is Asian, 4.7% is Black, 9.3% Hispanic, 4.2% multiracial. We have our indigenous community, 0.1%, as well as our AAPI, 0.1%. Right? So the majority of the students in Westchester School District are white, 73.5%. If you look over here at the demographics by student group, you'll see that only 16.9% of students are economically disadvantaged. Less than 4% of students are English language learners. Almost 14% of students have disabilities. Only 0.8% of students are experiencing homelessness. A pretty even split, slightly more male than female. And percent of gifted students is at about 4.5%. Okay, so that is Westchester Area School District, which is one of the 12 school districts that Chester County Intermediate Unit is responsible for. Okay, so now I would like to juxtapose that by looking at the Philadelphia County public high schools, right? So I was just talking about in the video of how they talked about Philadelphia was so difficult and things of that nature. So I'd like to do the same type of overall look at Philadelphia School District. Okay, so if we look here at Philadelphia City School District, we have the same type of information, right? So I already showed you the map of where Philadelphia is. It is on the eastern part of the state of Pennsylvania. So if I zoom out here, you see this is Philadelphia. This is New Jersey. That's over here. You have Delaware, that is here. You have Maryland, that's right here, right? So Philadelphia kind of sits at the southeast corner right next to New Jersey. So that's where it is situated for those of us who may not be up to par with our geography. All right, so let's look at the percent enrollment by race, ethnicity here on the right. And you will see 0.2% of the students are Indigenous, 9.7% of students are Asian, 47.1% of students are Black, 0.1% Native Hawaiian or Pacific Islander, Hispanic is 24.1%, white is 14.4%, and multiracial is 4.4%. So basically, we have about 85.6% of the students in Philadelphia School District are not white. All right. So then if we look over here to the left, economically disadvantaged, we're talking 71.8% of the students. 15% of students are English language learners. 18% of students are have learning disabilities. 1.7% of students are in foster care, and 2% of students are experiencing homelessness. Again, we have about an equal split down the middle of male versus female. And then we have 0.9% of gifted students. So at this point, you might be asking yourself, wow, that's a really big difference of what the Philadelphia School District is experiencing in comparison to Westchester area school district, right? So Pennsylvania has a higher concentration of students that are part of the global majority, a higher concentration of economically disadvantaged students, students with disabilities, students who are learning English, students who are experiencing homelessness or are in foster care. They have a lot more going on. All right. So, some other data that I was able to dig up. So, again, if we look here at Philadelphia City School District, the district has 217 schools. The student teacher ratio is 16 to 1. Again, the minority enrollment is 85%. The graduation rate is 66%. The overall district rank is the bottom 50%. Math proficiency is 23%. Reading proficiency is 37%. So it is very clear that there are some access issues here in Pennsylvania as well. I'm sorry, in Philadelphia, as well as some issues with meeting student needs, especially because we're thinking that 85% of the students are a part of the global majority, but the student teacher ratio is only 16 to 1. There should be a really, really great chance for students' learning gaps to be closed. However, the way that the system is set up does not allow that to happen. So let's look at some additional data. So let's look at the 10 best high schools, public high schools in Philadelphia. And there's one school in particular that I want to highlight. All right. So the top 10 schools. So again, for this school year, 22-23 school year, there are 93 public high schools. Philadelphia County public high schools have an average math proficiency of 32% versus the statewide high school average of 50%, which is still low. A reading proficiency score of 49% versus 65% statewide. High schools in Philadelphia County have an average ranking of 1 out of 10, which is the bottom 50% of Pennsylvania public high schools. They have a graduation rate of 77%. The minority enrollment, or again, I'm going to correct that and say the global majority enrollment is 85% of the student body, the majority of which are Black, which again is more than the Pennsylvania public high school average of 36%, and that is across the state. So as I was scrolling down, I saw that this is the top high school in Philadelphia, and I thought that really interesting. So I was like, let me go see what's happening at that particular high school. So if I come over to Central High School, which is the top performing high school in Philadelphia, I noticed that it is a magnet school, that there are 2,400 students, and that the student teacher ratio is 24 to 1. That's pretty high, right? So we just looked at Philadelphia. Um, Philadelphia school district student teacher ratio, and we saw that it's 16 to 1. So this is pretty high at this school. The minority enrollment is 70%. That got me curious. I was like, I wonder what that's about. Graduation rate is 98%. Testing, they rank in the top 1%. Math proficiency, top 1%. Reading proficiency, top 1%. So then I decided to come over here and do a little bit more investigation because I'm kind of confused. Like, how do we have all these minority students in this particular school and they are achieving? What is it that they are doing right? So I continued scrolling down and I saw that the minority enrollment is 70% of the student body, the majority of which are Asian. So, one of the things that I learned while being in Pennsylvania is that they are very friendly towards people who identify as Asian. So then I was like, well, that makes sense that this school would be top performing because many times they view Asian as white adjacent. So I'm sure that they're getting the resources and things that they need. And again, this is a magnet school. So, of course, they are getting additional resources, support that your regular public school would not receive. So the last few things that I looked up is basically that Philadelphia School District is the eighth largest school district in the United States. As you know, I worked for Hillsborough County Public Schools, which is the seventh largest school district in the United States. So very comparable, right, as far as scale, but Philadelphia has to deal with the dysfunction of the Pennsylvania school system and the school improvement system overall. So I hope that this quick data dive has given you some additional context. So let's jump back into the video. Because there are places where the student to teacher ratio is like 25, 26, 27 to 1, which is a lie. It's a lie on a teacher. So there's something else that some people got to go. Some people got to go, right? Because clearly something is not resonating, right? Now, my curiosity would kick in and say, where are we missing? Like, what are we missing? Because what I don't believe is that all of the teachers in Philadelphia are trash. I don't believe that to be true. What I do believe, because I know that Pennsylvania's system is so dysfunctional, that they probably haven't gotten any quality professional development. They probably don't know how to disaggregate data. They are ill-equipped. That is not the teacher's fault. That is the system's fault. Because the system is dysfunctional, then the teachers are not able to thrive and help children, right? But the system is working exactly how it was designed to work. So here I am coming in tooting my horn, okay, talking about all these amazing things that I'm doing to help people and help these schools, but the system is working how it's supposed to work, right? It's working how it's supposed to work. Because yeah, Ashley, you can't teach students that you don't respect, that you don't value, and that you don't feel like they can learn. So then Kimberlyn, would be like, can I see your teacher demographics? Like, are there certain types of teachers that maybe aren't connecting with children? Can I look at your discipline data? Are there certain types of students that are overrepresented? Right? I'm asking questions because I need to know. We need to problem solve this and troubleshoot this together, right? Come on. They have positioned that district to house all minorities and fail them on purpose, right? So here I am being a part of the school improvement team on behalf of the state, and they're not allowing me to work with the schools in Philadelphia. They're not allowing me to. Because if they allow me to, some progress is going to be made. So how do we do that? Keep her out. Keep her out the school. Keep the black people from out of there. The black people who are actually equipped and able to help move the needle. Let's not let them work there, because if they work there, then things are going to improve. And if things improve, then that means that the white people will no longer have a job. And that's not what they want. So, questions. There are all sorts of questions, right? So, when I say that I take a facilitative approach, I'm taking an approach to understand what's really happening. What is the root cause behind what's happening? Not just coming in with this one size fits all, right? So, like I said, as I was sharing all of that, I know I went on this tangent, but this was important. As I was sharing all of that, and I'm sharing with them how I differentiate and customize support for these schools, they don't even know what the hell I'm talking about. So let's hear
Conversation
their
about
response to what
self-care
I said.
or a conversation about intentional planning and how that can remove stress and anxiety. It's just I'm a life coach when I'm not doing this, so I'm a life coach when I'm at work a lot of times, and ensuring that everyone who is in a space that I am in leaves better than they were when they entered the space.
Mm-hmm. That's great. I'm finding that, well, during COVID, remote work, this barrier of not being able to be face to face. Sometimes I'm surprised, like when I'll do the what's CSI call it, like a
So before she gets to talking about this, because she's about to talk about an idea that they actually stole from me, um, they could not conceptualize how I connected with people that I had never met in person in my whole entire life. They couldn't make it make sense. So they kept trying to be like, "Oh, well, we're sucking them. They're sucking because we're not face to face." And that's what it is. Like, this works so much better if you're face to face. And that's a whole lie. It's a whole lie, because you don't have to be face to face with someone to connect with them, to make a difference. You don't. Right? But they don't know how to do that. So they're baffled. To Ashley's point, pay attention to what Noreen says. Every time I go on this 3-4 minute soliloquy about how fresh and fly Kimberlyn is, oh, wow, that's nice, are the types of things that she says. So let's keep listening. This is funny now.
spirit check.
Uh-huh.
We do a check in at the beginning. Sometimes I'm like surprised by people's responses. Like everybody's carrying so much right now. And a lot of us will make assumptions that, things are okay, things are not okay, that everybody's okay on the call. And then when we do a check-in, they're not okay. Any surprises regarding attitude that you've been able to like reset, or, you've had an aha discovering an attitude you didn't know was there?
So before I answer that, I do want to state for the record that Spirit, and I'm going to say this, but Spirit Checks is something that I brought to the good people in Pennsylvania. They were not concerned with checking anybody's spirit before this, nor did they have a systemized way to do that. But that was something that I was very intentional about and made sure that it was included in any space that I shared with anybody, because I'm trying to sense the room, y'all. I operate off of intuition, and that's what a lot of climate and culture work is about, is making sure that you can feel the space. And I'm very able to feel spaces even though I was virtual. I'm very able to feel energy, right? So a spirit check is something that I put into place with people that I met with, because I needed to make sure that I understand what type of energy that we're bringing into the room. And if we need to shift that energy of what needs to happen in order to create this safe place to learn and grow.
Yeah, I can't necessarily say surprises, just because so Jana knows this, like I'm very intentional about spirit checks and remembering that these are people that are
Yeah.
doing work and that we are all experiencing a global trauma with this pandemic. And it's important for us to acknowledge that and give people grace and space in the process. I do not ask people how they are doing if I can't receive what they say. So I'm always expecting that someone may come in and say, I am not having a good time. And I'm always ready to provide support, whether that be just listening or whether they just needed that to be acknowledged or directing them to other services. Um, so, no, it's not ever surprising, but it is something that I'm always prepared for.
Mhm. That's great.
And I've seen a lot of great examples of that, Kimberlyn, in your work and your interactions with the team, whether it be a small group or a school meeting or, internal, external, that you address that human element and give people a space for that.
Yeah, that can be exhausting.
It is exhausting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Being done well, it's often exhausting.
Yeah, but it speaks to the pressure that everybody is experiencing, right? So, but then also, I actually just had this conversation in a school meeting the other day. We did a spirit check, and a couple people weren't in good spirits, and then a couple of us weren't. And we had a conversation about the guilt that is associated with somebody. You ask one person how they're doing, and they're like horrible, and then you're like, "Well, I'm having a stupendous day." Do I then change my response, or do I honor the fact that I'm having a stupendous day? And then how can maybe some of that rub off on the person who may not be having a great day? Maybe I can provide them a reprieve from what they are thinking about right now and allow them to experience a laugh or a smile while we're in the space together. And that was a really powerful conversation that we had. And when we left that space, um, they were very grateful that they had come. One lady even said, I started to take off work today, but I knew that we were going to have this book study. So I came to work because I wanted to be here for this. And I'm glad that I came, right? In the midst of everything that she had going on, she knew that if she could get to this space, that it would leave her a little bit better. And that was a very powerful moment for all of us that were there in that space.
So, y'all, this is like a healing journey, right? Which again is something that when people approach school improvement work, especially white people, they're not thinking about healing and repairing damage that has been done. Right. Just again, being in this white supremacist system of education, they're not approaching it with, let me dismantle this and let me heal the harm. However, Kimberland is all about healing. So the entire time that I am meeting with people, my intention is to leave them better than I found them. So there would be people all the time that will come to my meetings, and I'm talking school administrators, district personnel, superintendents, assistant superintendents, school board members, and they would say things to me like, I wasn't going to come. But I knew that if I got into this space with you, that you would make some type of deposit that would make me better. I'm going to actually compile. I have some emails that some of my schools sent me when they laid us all off. And it really just goes to show how much they valued the work that we were doing. I had people that showed up to our virtual meetings that had COVID currently, and they were like, I need to be at this meeting that Kimberlyn is having. And remind you, at that time, the strain of COVID was taking people out of here. Okay. This wasn't like COVID light, like some of us have experienced, where, it was just some gastrointestinal issues, or we were tired, vaccines weren't out yet. Like, this was like people dealing with COVID, but they're trying to be at my meeting to make sure that they can get some type of deposit that's going to change their life. So again, they don't know nothing about none of this. They don't know anything about, like when I said, because I'm a life coach when I walk into any space. I'm always going to see that these are people that are doing work. These are people. I see the humanity in people. I even see the humanity in Jana and Noreen, as dysfunctional as they are. I still see the humanity in that they want to preserve their position at the top. I get it. There's sacrifice that comes with dismantling systems and releasing your privilege. I get it. I get it. That still don't make it okay, though. I get it. but it's because I see them as human beings. They don't look at us and believe that we are human. There are still people today in 2022 that look at us as Black people and think in their minds that we are not human. I'll be damned if I'm gonna let y'all do this to these children and act like it's okay. These kids did not sign up for this. These kids did not decide to go to schools where people don't even feel like they can learn or that they are human beings. I'll be damned if I'm gonna stay silent for y'all to sit here and murder spirits. That's what it's called, spirit murdering. You're murdering spirits. You're murdering spirits of children, of teachers, of educators, of families, of anybody who can move the needle to help these Black children achieve. Y'all are on assignment to murder their spirit. And I'm not here for it.
Yeah, I think that was wise to trust the process that way. I've been in that situation myself a couple of times. Once I didn't like the way I handled it, so I did it differently the second time. We were in a meeting with people that tend to work together, and some people were not doing well. They experienced loss, concern. Right. Somebody shared, well, my niece had a baby. Here's the picture. So we celebrated that. I felt we did a moment of silence, Kimberlyn. I'm not sure if that was the right thing to do or not, but it respected. It was a sign of respect for celebration, for loss, and then allowed us to switch gears fairly gracefully to work too. So it gave us some parameters for that discussion. So I commend you on being so reflective in that area. I think that that's something that we're going to continue to grapple with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
John, I forget if I asked you any comments or questions.
No, I'm good. I inserted one before, so.
Okay. Kimberlyn, and anything else on this issue of attitude?
No.
All right, let's do one more and then we'll take a look at the time and decide how we want to move forward. So time management, your meeting deadlines associated with your responsibilities. How are the deadlines that you're working with? How do they help you move the work forward or get in the way of moving work forward?
Yeah, I think I need deadlines, right? So I'm not a good open-ended, just get it in when you get it in type of person, because I have so many things that I have to do. So having deadlines helps to ensure that things are completed. One of the things that I've had to be very intentional about since the new year has started, and I guess it kind of started in December, is carving out intentional time to plan and intentional time to wrap up. In this Zoom world, we have become accustomed to jumping from meeting to meeting to meeting, and it's just really against everything of best practices. So when we talk about reflecting, we're not providing ourselves any opportunity to reflect, because we're taking one meeting, then going to the next, and now everything is jumbled by the end of the day when we're trying to, send all the wrap-up emails and all of that kind of stuff. It's too much in our brains, especially me working statewide. There's so much that's going on. So I have been very intentional in urging, and I'm starting to see it pick up, my colleagues to do the same, of carving out that time to focus on that, and then creating that debrief opportunity at the end, after whatever meeting space happens, to send a follow-up email, to complete the engagement form, to talk about what worked well and what didn't work well, and where do we want to go next with this, so that when I close out of that space, I'm done with that for the day. That has been a savior to my mental peace, because prior to me deciding to do that, it was so much going on that it was just too much. It was too much. So now I am able to work even more strategically and more methodically in how I address school needs, because I'm taking that time out to think about it, in a space that is carved out for that. So I don't feel like I have competing interests and all these other things that are happening. So that has been a savior to the Zoom barrier, if you will. I don't know that that was explicitly created as far as this whole jumping to meeting. I don't think that's the intention behind what we set up, but that often winds up being the product of it. So I've just had to be really intentional for me, to do what I know is going to be best for me to best serve the schools that I'm working with, so that they can get the best of me and not the flustered me that just left out of another meeting.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, what would happen prior to this, but prior to me carving out this space, is I would have a meeting at 1 o'clock. My meeting is from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock. I got another meeting at 2 o'clock. That means from 2 o'clock to 2:30. I got a meeting at 2:45. That meeting is from 2:45 to 3:15. I got a meeting from 3:15 to 4. Right? Like, when the hell am I supposed to process all of this, send follow-ups, ensure that I am reflecting? Right? Because if you want to talk about moving the needle, reflection is a part of that. We need to think about what we're doing well. What are the things that aren't working? What plan are we going to use? Right? So we didn't have any of that. Like, literally, it would be a team of 7 or 8 people in a meeting, jumping from meeting to meeting to meeting to meeting with no buffer time. Then you think that I'm about to keep sitting up here working to 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night to finish the work that I should have carved out for myself while I was working to complete all of the things that need to be done. There are administrative pieces of our jobs that need to be in place in order to keep this running efficiently, right? So why would I keep jumping from meeting to meeting to meeting? I don't even know who I'm talking to. We would show up to meetings and we'd be like, what school is this? Who are these people? What day is, what the hell is going on? Because we had no time to carve out space to take a moment to process what happened, to reflect, to come up with a plan, to send the follow-up email, to send the next calendar invite. Like, it was so crazy. So I decided, for me, this is what I'm going to do. I'm not about to be jumping from meeting to meeting. If my meeting ends at 2 o'clock, I won't be in the next meeting to 2:30. I'm not available because I need to make sure that I have the ability to properly process what happened. I owe that to my schools. I owe that to these administrators and these school leaders for me to be thoughtful and meticulous and intentional about the process that I am using to help support them. I owe that to them because that's how important this work is. It's important enough for me to say, I need to take some time to really direct brain cells in your direction so that I can show up for you in a way that is going to matter. And yes, I decided that for me because it's clear y'all used to working in chaos. I don't know. I ain't doing this. I'm not doing this. I am not doing this. I am going to make sure that I am impactful, I'm intentional, because above all, I am here to serve these schools. So no, I'm not available at those times. Oh, you want to schedule a meeting with me? Well, I'm just getting out of a school meeting, so I won't be available until 30 minutes after that. That's what I decided for me, right? Then I further communicated to my team what I was doing, and they were like, that's a brilliant idea. I'm like, how the hell y'all been getting, like, when have y'all been getting work done? When have y'all been, they weren't getting work done. They weren't processing. They literally just had a jumble of random notes here and there that meant nothing because they weren't being intentional about their time and about developing plans to help these schools improve. So I decided that I was going to do what was best in the interest of schools.
Totally relate to that. John, any questions or feedback?
No, I see the like firsthand effects of that, Kimberly. I value not just that, but like, even the rest of our colleagues. I think we're all starting to appreciate those types of thinking around, particularly in your role, Carrie, Kelly, Kristen. That you all have that ability to kind of cross pollinate, and when you're sharing those strategies, techniques, communication practices. I know that some of that statewide team was very influential in the communication practices, best practices, ways that we can be more highly functional. So I think that's obviously becoming more and more valuable to across the team.
Mhm.
Can I remind y'all this lady's supposed to be the supervisor? I don't know if we lost sight of that. She's supposed to be the supervisor, y'all. She's supposed to be the supervisor. Like the supervisor is supposed to be the person that's like, okay, let's think through this. Let's make sure that we're working efficiently. Let's make sure that we got systems of shit. She the supervisor. So for these things to never have even occurred to you, ma'am, ma'am, you supposed to be the supervisor. This is further reason for why she was not needed in this space. You have nothing to add. You don't know what I'm doing. You have no idea how to be effective or efficient. Why are you here? But to cause trauma to me.
So, given that discussion on time management, so we had booked an hour. We're about 3 minutes away.
Okay, so now Noreen about to give y'all the plan for what's about to happen, right? Because we done had a whole hour of a 90-day evaluation. A whole hour. We are currently on indicator number 6, which is time management. There are 4 indicators left and goals that are supposed to be set. Let's hear Noreen's idea.
So Kimberlyn, I'm going to ask you what your preference is. I have about another 10 to 15 minutes that I could continue. We can stop here, address any questions, concerns that you have, any immediate needs, and then schedule another time to meet. My worry is even if we go with the 15 minutes, we may still need to schedule another time. So, I want to defer to you and your schedule, and certainly Principal Slaughter and hers as well. How would you like to proceed?
I think we're going to need to do another one, just to get through everything that we do have to get through. My concern is the next couple of weeks are really jammed. So I'm just not sure what deadlines look like as far as getting this submitted and honoring that time. I'm not sure how to navigate that.
Well, what I would recommend is that I send an email to HR telling them that we met today and how far we got, and that we're going to meet again. That's our intention. I would CC you on that email, so you see that as well, and of course, John, so that HR knows that we're not just slacking, that we're not following through. And then I would work with you to prioritize a next meeting date. I do want to get this done with you, but I also want to get it done well, right, so that it's valuable to you and, honestly, to John and me too. You have a lot of work that you're doing. And I think it would benefit us from going through this process. So
Again, they are trying to put me through this so that they can learn. It would benefit them. None of this is for me. I know what the hell I'm doing. They do not. So they are dragging me through all of this for the benefit of them. Noreen just said that. Let's let her say it again.
Valuable to you, and honestly, to John and me too. You have a lot of work that you're doing, and I think it would benefit us from going through this process. So with that in mind, I want to balance the two needs. Communication and a reasonable timeline, as well as taking some time to really ensure that it's a valuable process.
Okay.
Anything that you need, like today, in the next couple of days, that is on your mind that you would like support with?
No, nothing that I can think of. Mm-mm. I No, I think that I'll continue to add things onto the Trello board as I think about it, just to have a place to put stuff and take it out of my brain. But no, I can't think of anything right this moment.
Okay. One thing here, I'm going to stop sharing so we can see each other better. One thing I don't want to do is hold up support to you because this 90-day evaluation isn't done. So if you need anything, email John and myself, and one of us, both of us will be happy to help any way that we can, any questions, any supports, and anything at all.
Okay.
So that support should be continuing. I'll email HR. It'll be sometime today.
Okay.
Before midnight.
Okay.
And you'll be aware of that as well. And then I'll also do my best to send some dates and times for consideration when Principal Slaughter can join us as well.
Okay.
Wednesdays are usually the hardest days for me. All my PLCs are on that day.
Okay.
Is there a day that's
That works best.
day of the week that's best?
Mondays actually are pretty open.
I want
Mornings
y'all to
or
pay attention to
afternoons
the
or
scheduling
both?
process.
Either or.
Okay.
So I do have.
Now you do realize that is me speaking with only 1 week so far.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's now or never with your schedule right now. It's like, if I.
So that's what I was gonna say. If we could maybe, so I know we're off next Monday, and then my birthday is on the 14th, so I'm also gonna be off some additional days. So the 22nd, though, the same time, I have available on my calendar. I don't know what anybody else's looks like.
I'm going to try. So that's 2 weeks from today.
Yes.
By then, everyone in Harrisburg will know how to find Portia.
I know she might be in hiding.
Yes, I am open. I am like all open that day. So if you schedule it, I can hurry up and put it on my calendar.
Can we
If everyone do an 8 o'clock?
I'm sorry.
How about 8 o'clock?
So I have a 8:45 meeting that I have to prepare for. So my concern is that it won't provide us with enough time.
So you have an 8:45.
Yeah, we have standing meetings on Monday mornings for our PLC. So I'm available for the rest of the day after 11 o'clock throughout the remainder of the day on the 22nd.
I'm in interviews for the middle part of the day, which may go away, but right now I create problems if I give that time away for candidates as well as my colleagues. So I can't do that. And then I'm in strategic planning. So nice try, everybody, but it's not going to be that easy.
Okay.
It's not going to be that easy.
I'm going to send a bunch of times.
Okay.
I may even do a doodle poll if that's okay with you guys. I think it might be quickest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that works.
All right. But our intention will be to meet at a time that works for you and have another valuable hour.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And thank you all for carving out this time to be here today.
Well, thank you. Yeah. No, I mean, I believe it's one of the most important things that we can do for each other is to provide feedback, to ask guiding questions, to listen, to learn. So this is an important time. Anything else that I forgot, Jonna? keep an eye on me. What did I forget to bring up or talk about?
No, I think we'll continue next time.
Okay. All right. So you'll see the email from me to HR, and you'll see another email from me with a doodle poll.
Okay. Sounds good. Is there anything that you need from me in the meantime?
No, I made, Jonna, that fifth goal.
Yeah, I was thinking if we have the time to finish the rest of those areas and then talk through the goals, Kimberlyn, that might be something that you could look ahead at the goals that are, and they're actually on your Trello board as well. So those are the ones, and you'll remember a discussion that we had, and maybe you won't remember a discussion that way, but there was some earlier ideas around those
Jonna.
goals being team goals, and they're on the Trello board, and you can at least take a look at those and kind of, re-familiarize yourself with those, because I think that'll be a good starting point for the conversation of goals.
Okay. Perfect.
All right.
Just making myself a note. Thank you.
Okay. So now I want to tell y'all what happened after that, and like immediately after that. So y'all heard me say this meeting took place on February 8th, 2021. My birthday is February 14th, right? So let me pull up my calendar so I can tell you days of the week, because these things matter. All right. So what year is this? 2022. All right. So this is February 2021. So February 8th was a Monday. My birthday was that Sunday, the 14th. So I was going to be off on the 15th, which Portia said Mondays were best for her. So I was going to be off on the 15th. The date that I proposed was the 22nd, which, again, keep in mind, my 90-day evaluation was supposed to be completed by January 29th. This is taking place on February 8th. It's obvious that y'all just make up at this point. It's clear. So I'm going to enjoy my birthday, and then I'm available after that. All right. So let me tell you what happened. So we had our meeting. Let me share my screen here. So then I get an email from Jonna, sent Monday, February 8th, after I had just had my evaluation. She copies Noreen, and she titles it "Friendly Reminder." Hi, Kimberland. It was nice to see you today. During the call, you mentioned that you are planning to take some days off next week. I hope you enjoy your time off. As a reminder, this document in our SharePoint folder outlines the procedures for absences for the CSI team. As always, please don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions. Thank you. Warmly, Jonna. This was February of 2021. I had been employed with this system since August 20th of 2020. There were there were several days that I had to schedule to take time off for whatever reason. I was traveling, or I just needed a mental health break. Why, Jonna, did you feel the need to all of a sudden send me a friendly reminder about the procedures for absences? So I respond to her friendly reminder. Thank you, Jonna, for sending this link. As you know, I am aware and have followed and honored the absence reporting procedure in times past. Once I finalize my decision on which days I will take, I will submit the time per the procedure. Manufacturing a problem, manufacturing something, anything to try to make me the problem. There had not been any type of conversation about me not following. Matter of fact, we just went over absence in the I need to cuss, y'all. Can I go ahead and cuss? Can I? I just, I've had so much self control this whole time, but I need to cuss because this, they know good and damn well that we just talked about attendance. And what Noreen said about attendance is that I followed the procedure. That's all that she could say, right? Because she couldn't say nothing good. So her meets expectation was about, well, you followed the procedure for absences and timeliness and blah, blah, blah. Oh, but not today. I need a reminder. So later that night, I did a reflection because that was bothering me in real life. Like it was bothering me. So I sent myself an email about it. And you can see this is 9:09 p.m. So I said, I had my evaluation today at 11:30 a.m. I've been trying to process the experience since then. My evaluation has turned into a multi-day experience. I didn't anticipate that. I was told that we have to continue the conversation on another day in order to complete it. So that's another day that I have to find time to schedule and make sure that Portia is available to accompany me. This is so stressful. It has turned into another full-time job when I recount all the hours of documentation, communication, follow-up, gathering of artifacts to share how this is impacting every area of my life. I'm continuing to experience trauma daily as I deal with this. To further exacerbate the situation, I'm trying to tap into my EAP services. EAP is Employee Assistance Program for anyone who doesn't know, to find some mental health support. Panic and anxiety attacks have become a mainstay. I have had 3 today. The first thing this morning, one right before the evaluation, and another after Jana's friendly reminder. Why does she need to send me this email? I have never had a problem with following the procedure. What is the implication and underlying tone here? I am tired. I am exhausted. I am stressed. I just want to be able to do the job that I was hired to do. That's all. Is that too much to ask? So, episode 7, we'll pick up with what happened after that. And we'll start to look at the second part of the evaluation. What I will say that you may or may not have noticed, not one damn score got changed. Not one. All that talking I did, all that evidence I provided, all of the examples that I uplifted, not one score was changed or altered. What I'm going to do after I show y'all the second part of this is I'm going to create a evaluation recap. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through each indicator. I'm going to share what I said, and then I'm going to share what they wrote. I also have my self-evaluation data and my final evaluation data that happened at the end of the year. I'm gonna make a compilation. I'm gonna make a compilation so you all can see this is the evidence that I provided. This is what I said at 90 days. This is the rating that they gave me at 90 days. This is what I said in the self-evaluation with additional documentation. And this is what they said in the final evaluation. And I'm gonna let y'all judge for yourself. I'm gonna let y'all judge for yourself. I'm gonna let y'all judge for yourself. So, As always, I am supremely grateful for you all joining me. I am very appreciative of all of the support and the time that you all have also given to my experience and walking through this with me and upholding and uplifting me as I share this. Thank you. In real life, this really does touch me in a space that I don't really even have the words to encapsulate, but I am just supremely grateful that you all have taken the time to allow me to unpack this. So having said that, as y'all know, y'all are getting the first no, right? Y'all get the unedited version. After this, I am going to edit everything. You know what else I need to do, y'all? I need to make a blooper reel, because if y'all have gone back and watched the edited YouTube versions of this, that damn blur feature that YouTube got is not the business. Okay. There are like these random blurs that be coming up, like when I'm watching it back and I'm like, I definitely didn't put a blur there, but okay, that's fine. So I also want to thank y'all for for enduring the blurs and the craziness that's popping up in the YouTube system as I am trying to get this story out. So if you can do a couple things to help me and support me. One of the things is please share. Please share this on your pages. You can actually share the playlist, and the playlist will just lead people directly there. But if you will please share, because there are people who need to understand that this type of treatment is not okay, and that they have the right to advocate for themselves, and they have the right to document and get things on recording and video and all of that. Like, we really need to make sure that people are equipping themselves with the skills that they need to help them successfully leave out of these situations. I have said many times that this is life or death for many folks. There are people who are literally dying because of hostile work environments. And there are white people who are upholding these systems of hostile and traumatizing work environments because it is going to help them stay on top. And let me tell you, I'm not here for it. Accountability is here, and we're not doing that. We're not doing that. And we're not going silently anymore. So if you all will please help me get the word out to other people that need to join in this fight. And I will say that there are several people that I am in the process of connecting with that are going to help dismantle these systems. And I am very grateful for that. So if you will please share. Also, make sure that you are following me on all the social medias, because of the way that the uploading process happens and all that kind of stuff. Like, it just takes a really long time to process stuff. So I don't want to any longer say this is going to happen. This is going to be uploaded to YouTube XYZ day, because it's making me look like I'm a liar. So I don't know when the actual YouTube video is going to come out for the public, but I will always let you know on my social media when it is present. So make sure that you're following me so that you can get those notifications. Please, if you have not already, please subscribe to my channel. What was I say? Subscribe to my channel and like the video, because that helps with the algorithm. I shared, we did a live screening last night of part 5, and I shared in the comments that the people from Pennsylvania are watching. They are in the comments, they are watching the videos, they are looking for any types of reasons that they can discredit me or try to take some type of legal action or what have you. So because of that, I have to be very intentional with how I'm putting things out, but also I'm not about to stop. So accountability is here. So having said that, I love y'all. I love you so much. I really, 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 really appreciate you all. And thank you for hanging out with me. I will be back in a few days with episode 7, whenever that might be. So again, stay tuned to all of my social spaces so that you can get that right now word. All right. I love y'all. Bye.